Everybody tells me, Charlie's a nice guy. All of you group, he's really the nicest. Yes, he is nice. But try to make him compromise what he believes. You'll find a person, and now they call impossible. You can't make him do what he don't believe in. So I've always been proud. He taught me my first spellings in filmmaking. He was my TA. At UCLA, TAs teach you film. You never see professors. So the only guy I saw was this guy, and I was like desperate to make a movie, and he was holding me to learn, so I will not destroy the equipment, the light, the camera, etc. But I thought, like every hungry black person, I was trying to go. Let me go, let me go. And he had some stupid people in class who were like slowing me down, and Charlie would say to me, calm down, calm down. So he's really a very important factor in my life, because in the end, I live to appreciate his humanist, but at the same time, non-compromising principles he has set out for himself. And I'm very proud to have been associated with this guy. When you did your own movie with all the poverty that comes along with it, because I know Killers, you had only like, at one time you had only $3,000 that I remember. And you made a very historic movie. And so just speak about in that area of freedom of expression compared to when you were producing it yourself.
Well, you know, one of the good things about UCLA was the fact that it encouraged you to make your film, you know, and it was sort of an anti-Hollywood sort of culture there. You had really talented people there. It was a very diverse community of students. We had people from all over the world. Haile was there to show me. We had the Japanese. We had everybody there, and particularly the French, who had just gone through the riots at the Sorbonne and things like that. So it was a great atmosphere, you know, political atmosphere. And though the film department was the last one to go on strike, I mean, the last one to go on, yeah, to go on strike, and the last one to get off strike. You know, we was kind of far behind, but once we got on, we sort of stayed there and whatever. But it was a great place. You know, we could have discussions and things. And one of the good things was that you know, people of color were always talking about what represents us, what kind of a film represents us. And so we were sort of had this sort of trying to create our own narratives apart from Hollywood and tell our stories. You know, and we were very committed about it. And Haile was saying we used to stay up at 3 o'clock at night and argue, because everyone felt so passionate about what they believed in, what they thought was, at the time, a black film with their experience, you know, that they wanted to tell. This is my experience, you know. And so we fought, we literally fought about it, you know. And we never came to a conclusion of what is a black film, you know. But we sort of felt that we knew what it was, you know. When I did Killer of Sheep, I did what I wanted to do. And one of the things I wanted to do was react against those films that were made by certain political people, supposedly, you know, like Bobby Roth and things like that, Made My Boss's Son and things, about stories that dealt with exploitation, which was very good, but it was a conventional kind of thing where you see people being exploited by management, they form a union, then everyone is happy after that, you know. But in my reality, the people I knew who I wanted to do a film about, they were just happy to get a job, you know, and to endure, and then that was part of it. Then there's a whole impact of the community which you had to deal with, you know. I didn't have anyone to say, don't do this or cut this and so forth, you know. I mean, we'll demand, and of course you screen your film for your advisors and things like that, and they may make suggestions. But one of the good things about UCLA was you don't have to listen to them, you know. You said this is like, you know, you made stuff the consequences in terms of the grades and things like that. But, you know, I think one of the things which was great was the fact that you have this student body support, you know, where we're always trying to do what we thought was important to us, you know, express our own feelings and things like that. And so you had this sort of, you were shaped by all this stuff going into your final film. And so I was just interested in making my film, and I knew that these characters, particularly after being in these final screenings when these teachers say some of the most ridiculous things about the films, you know. And he said, my God, you know, and some guys, you know, they're sleeping, some of these faculty members are sleeping during the film, you know, they wake up, oh yeah, your film's about this and that, and so and, you know, start talking, and some people say, you were asleep, you know, what are you talking about? Or that you know the guy was somewhere else because his comments didn't relate to what was going on. But it was a great time, you know.
In terms of freedom of expression, how do you look at your liberty?
When you get into the studio system, you do a film with someone else's money, you know, you have to sort of like listen a little more carefully when someone else is putting the bill, you know, and you can argue, react. At the bottom line, they can pull the plug, but there's also it's a frustrating thing, you know, and sometimes you do have to listen to people, you know, because some people do have good ideas, and you can't just be arrogant and say, I'm going to make my film, because the whole idea is to communicate to people, you know. And I think the problem with Hollywood is for a select group of people for their audience, you know. They don't ever anticipate, think of a wider, or a black, or people of color, you know. You look at, in fact, the problem is that they don't know how to sell films, except for, you know, drug films and things like that in the neighborhood. But quality films, they don't seem to have an idea, you know. In fact, you can even tell them you think, well, they'll listen if you tell them. It's like, you know, you're encroaching upon my job. I know how to do these films. And but not all, but not everyone is like that. There's some people who are very decent people in there, so I don't want to color everybody in the same color. But it's something that you have to be prepared to sort of deal with the madness.
There are certain realities in the industry that's, in my view, just business, the business aspect. But then business with human beings, business with race metrics in it, and the psychoneurosis of power people. Many producers, from what I hear, are power mongers. Is there like a creative black person? Can there be a room for a black man or a black woman to come in, create a corner, have producers that shelter you like Spartacus to go after your vision? And then part two with that is, who gives people what audience understand? Where is that liberty found? And also, how about if audience themselves don't know, shouldn't they be uplifted by the visionary or the poet, the filmmaker?
About Hollywood, they're sort of insulated and isolated in the sense that they like there's this notion that some people that make this business never cross La Cienega, you know, and they do, but that's the idea that they don't interact with people, period, you know. We independent people do, because we go to sessions like this, you know, so, you know, we get things thrown at us, whatever it is, we have to be responsible. But it's this attitude when you get there, a lot of people who come to make movies don't have the same idea and agendas that we have, you know. They have a different reasons for it. It's about money. You know, it's all about getting, you know, living a life, and so they don't care if someone gets in the way, and some of them do, but generally speaking, the films that they want to make, generally speaking, are not stories that are about issues, real issues, you know, about real stories. So it's not an issue with them if someone comes along and wants to adjust things. It's a vanity thing or whatever it is, an ego thing. But other than that, if they say to you, well, if you want to do this scene, you know, you're fired or whatever it is, or it costs you money. It's going to cost you this amount of money if we have to do this scene, or it's going to take it away. But it won't bother them. They'll be mad, but it won't be like some what do you call it? You know, when something just makes a big shift in your life, where you have this idea and someone takes it away from you. Okay, that's what it is when people who really have a passion about what they want to do. You know, they don't want to change it because it's like, this is what it is. You know, it's different when you have a situation where you have that there is a budgetary issue where you say, I want this dolly shot, the crane shot, whatever it is, and the guy says, you can't get that shot because we don't have any money for it. I mean, that's different from the saying, no, I don't think we should do that, or I don't think this scene is necessary, whatever it is, you get that, Now, I don't think you should cast this person, because I want this other person, whatever it is, because more money and, it's a marketing thing, whatever, It's all these things, but getting back to what you were saying, is that, is there a person who could do that? There's probably a person who may or may not be close to that, but he's not gonna make the movie you want to make. If I go and try to pitch a story, I have to be sure that everything is perfect. The spelling, the writing, and everything, the format, everything is perfect. I have to be very over-articulated about what the story is about, how to explain it, what's happening, and each little detail. Well, some people just get ideas, like just general ideas, and they get it, But I remember reading a story. I guess his name was Shane Black or someone. I can't remember. He did this movie about this action story, and about I'm sure you saw it. And it was this football. It was this opening with a football thing, and a guy shot in this football match, by someone, and yeah. And he goes, if you read the script, and this is, you talk about, when you talk about holes in the story, you talk about little bitty things like that, but whole pages were missing. And he would say like, oh, a great scene, a great action scene. And then it'd be into the next page, something else, and then it starts to think. Now you couldn't get away with that, And they'll say, here's another example of people of color can't write, stuff like that. It's amazing, you sit there, and that's the stuff that kills you, You say, how come? What is it, that? And the bad part about it is, even black producers and directors have the same attitude, They don't give you slack at all, It's like, in fact, they kind of hard on you, sometimes, it's even worse.
In the area we have discussed, freedom of expression, in the sense of once you go into capitalism, which is what you're describing, what is the freedom? Because when you are a student, idealist, you're making a movie, and now you're going into a framework. Now the market economy starts to govern you. Is this eternal? Is this fait accompli for all of us and the rest of everybody?